Hello, I'm David Anton. I'm an attorney who's brought whistleblowers forward. We've had 8 people come forward publicly and report to the government. We've also talked with about 40 people who worked at Hunters Point and have reported the fraud. There's a real problem at Hunters Point, and the problem isn't just that there was fraud. The problem is the Navy and the regulators don't want to do a real testing, a real sampling, and a real cleanup.
That's right.
We need to force them to do a real sampling, a real cleanup of the entire Hunters Point. We need to make sure that they give us the plans they're developing so that the community can look at it. And the Navy is working very hard to keep those from us.
That's right.
So that we only get to see it at the very last moment. And they pull it off on us. The community has to work on this. Otherwise, the problems, the fraud, the shortcutting won't stop.
That's right.
And these problems are not just at Hunters Point. These problems go across the bay to Treasure Island.
That's right.
San Francisco is responsible for taking these properties and turning them into something where people can live, communities can develop. It has to be safe. It has to be somewhere where people aren't going to eventually get sick and die. Right now, San Francisco has not been doing the job. Not once has San Francisco, in the 8 years we've been doing this, asked for any of the whistleblowers to come talk with them.
That's right.
Not once.
Not once.
Has the Navy asked for any of these people to meet with them.
That's right.
There's a real problem here. The Navy is not an active participant in making this clean and getting it corrected.
That's right.
Only by your activity and your pressure on the public officials will this be done correctly.
Exactly.
Can you tell us what your clients have come forward to say?
Well, one of them, Bert Bowers, B-O-W-E-R-S, he worked at Hunters Point for a decade. And Bert, what was your last job there?
My last job at Hunters Point was in the role of Radiation Safety Officer. Represented Tetra Tech and their NRC license, accountable for the safe, effective handling of radioactive materials, which did not happen.
Bert Bowers was terminated from Tetra Tech when he objected to radiological practices that were contrary in 2011. And he's been trying to bring these issues forward to the government since 2011. What else do you have to say, Bert?
Thank you, Mr. Bowers.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. It's unfortunate that it's in this type of arena that I'm having to come forward, because in my other years of tenure at other sites, people tend to go by the legal codes. It did not happen at Hunters Point. And it's impossible for me to capture 10 years of presence at Hunters Point and convey in a short 2-3 minute spiel what took place there. To categorize it properly, if you look at the contaminants that are present at Hunters Point and equate it to Ebola virus spores, even in residual amounts, would you have a concern if Ebola virus spores were in the soils on parcel A?
Of course.
Would you let your kids go out and play in the sand, eat the dirt? Okay? It's common sense. Okay?
You worked there for 10 years,
10
left
years.
in 2011. Can you say it's safe?
It is absolutely not safe until you verify it's safe.
That's right.
And the concern is with that, these are not even indoor areas of concern. These are outdoor areas in the soil.
That's right.
You have rains falling. You have the rainy season coming upon us. You have contaminant migration that's basically taken place now for 7 years since I came forward. Okay, but the equally great concern here is the Navy, the regulators, the decision makers.
That's right.
They have these draft plans to come forward with a new plan of attack to correct the problem.
No.
Why have they not involved us, the people with the long extended tenure at the site, and gotten our feedback, constructive feedback. The silence is deafening.
So what were you
Thank
not
you.
doing that you were supposed to do?
What were we not doing that we were supposed to do? We were not communicating. In other words, things were taking place behind my back, behind the overseer's roles of responsibilities, and the only way that it was identified is we caught them. But at the time we caught them, we were kicked off the project. And it happened multiple times with multiple people who came forward.
So you tested the soil, and what happened?
Well, you know what? Once the soil was tested, it gets to another level of reviews, and it gets out of our purview
Right.
and gets up to the levels of the decision makers from a construction management point of view, not a RAD safety point of view.
Right.
We get out of the picture at that point. That's a question for higher ups.
And Bert, when Anthony Smith talked about the fake sampling, what does that mean for what was taking place?
It's showing that there was
Don't lean
realignment
back on me. I
of
will
loyalties from RAD safety professionals who basically changed their priorities from RAD safety to construction management priorities and goals to shorten the length of time to do the job to make maximum profit. It's that simple.
We also have Don Wadsworth,